Welcome, everyone, once again to SRF Weekend Warriors presented by RaceVoice. I am your host for the day, Jim Hodgson. Joining me today, a special treat in the commentary box. You will not hear this often, friends, so perk up your ears. It is the one, the only Lee Thompson joining me on commentary. And of course, in the production booth, the man on the knobs and faders, it is Mark Tranter. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for helping me put this on. I am thrilled to bring you the race today from Sonoma Raceway, historic club layout. So a little bit weird, a little bit different from what you might be expecting. And it looks like we've got a full field today, Lee. How are you feeling about your first time with the Weekend Warriors?
Looking forward to it, Jim. Thanks very much for the introduction. As it happens, this isn't actually my first one. I believe I did our very first commentary for SRF on their first round, and then dutifully stepped aside and left it to the experts from there. But no, it's good to be back. Sure, it was great what I've seen, not just on that one broadcast, but keeping half an eye on them generally through the rest of the couple of seasons as well. Seeing the races that these guys are putting on out there. Looking forward to seeing more of the same. Sonoma, I think, Jim, is going to be a tricky one for them. It's pretty unforgiving gravel runoffs, which I'm guessing as a bit of a purist, you're going to much prefer rather than the GP style asphalt runoffs everywhere that we see sometimes.
I don't know. I'm not sure now that you bring it up. I mean, my favorite track in the world, just because it is close to my heart, both in proximity and in amount of admiration, is Road Atlanta, and we've got gravel there. I guess it is a little less fun when it's an asphalt runoff and you can continue racing rather than seeing someone beach themselves. But honestly, I had never really thought about that. But, the best thing, of course, would be to battle on track and not send yourself off, as we see Jörg Manny making use of the runoff area.
Yeah, it's going to be a fair bit of attrition, I think, tonight, right? I mean, say it's a full old grid that we've got out there. It's a pretty tight, narrow track, and as you say, only one little mistake, and you're going to be struggling to sort of scrabble back onto the surface. So we'll see how these guys get on. We're 7 minutes 30 seconds into practice, and then we've got a nice little show ahead. Jim, do you just want to remind us what the format's going to be for tonight in terms of qualifying in the race?
Absolutely. Well, the qualifying is already done, and so once this practice session winds down in just about 2 minutes, we will start racing with a grid determined by the previous session, and then we will have us a good old race. It'll be about 45 minutes, I would guess. We'll have to see how that turns out in terms of laps. Now, what I can tell you is that we do have some standings in the series so far. If we could have a look at those, first with Spec 1. As you can see, Austin Winter at the top of the standings. I'm not sure if we have him in the grid today or not. He's followed by Andres Bertoni and David Bohm, rounding out the top three in Spec 1. Those are your sort of overall leaders. And then in Spec 2, you will notice these cars on track because they'll have numbers over 200. Simon Mayer leading that. I had no idea he was in the lead of Spec 2. Well done to you, Mayer. He's followed by Nico Shook and Adam Bradshaw in second and third. And if you cast your eye down to the bottom, you'll see that we have a three-way tie for eighth as well in Spec 2. And finally, last but far from least, the Masters. Yes, indeed, these gentlemen are over 60 years of age. So if you should see one of them asleep at the wheel of their car, just give them a little knock on the helmet and it'll wake them right up. Michael Shaw is leading the Masters, and he's followed by Tom Gradwell and Kenneth Batley in second and third, as well as, of course, series organizer Stevie Ray sitting in fourth in master standing. So, wow, lots going on track, Lee. Of course, the Masters is new to us. The old guys, I guess, wanted to race against one another without the young people sort of bothering them on the road.
Well, it's great to have those guys in there. You know, I can imagine only a few years ago, perhaps we would have had a much lower percentage of that sort of age driver available, and hopefully, with one of the very small kind of positives of the strange old year we've had, it's able to bring in a lot more fresh drivers who maybe are real life drivers, things like that, played around on tracks in real life and actually decided to give the sim a go and hopefully sticking with it. So no, great to see a separate little standings there for those guys for sure. I think that's definitely going to be a first for Apex Racing TV on like any league we've ever broadcast to have a Masters Championship running. So that's it's pretty awesome.
Well, I joke, but I joke, of course, because I love they are all pretty fast. So no need to worry about that. We should see our grid shortly, and there it is. It's your man, Austin Winner in P1, joined by David Gaspers. A little bit of bad luck lately has Gaspers had, but he rounds out the first row with Austin Winner. They're followed by Florence Arabian and Andres Bertoni in row 2. And then Simon Mayer in P5. Great result, Mayer. Well done to you, sir. He's followed by Jörg Manny in P6. And they are followed by Jeff Fritcher and Yaroslav Chernikovsky, who got a little bit wild with us for failing to pronounce his name as he would like. Yaroslav, we're doing our best, buddy. I think it's Chernikovsky. I think that's what you told me. So Chernikovsky is followed, of course, by Ken Batley in P9 and Josh Arnold in 10th. And then Michael Dobek and Miro Haraski in 11th and 12th. It looks like we're going to get ourselves a nice formation lap. I'll carry on with the names here. In 13th, it's Steven Elson and Bobby West. They're followed by Mike Shaw, Tim Van Dormelen, Jan Pereira, Chris Murakami, Jim McGill, Ian Haycox, Aaron Vagley, Burke Triedler, Thomas Renders, and Peter Mizarek down in P24. On into P25, it's Neil Sentovsky, he's joined by Paolo Breme, Ian Gibson, series organizer Stevie Ray. Thank you for your hard work, Stevie Ray. And followed by Paul Jackson, Jeremy Lewis, Jeff Jacobson, Stephen Mitchell, Tom Gradwell, Yuri Cox, all the way down to 34th. What are you doing, Yuri? 35th is Flavio Andalo and Kirk Broadhurst in 36th. In 37th, it's David Swig, joined by Andrew Wozencroft, Joshua Flores, Bob Kern, Trick Smith, Harry Walbolt, Sean Conlon, Samuel Dick, Louis Verloop, Robert Elay, Hugh Haycox, and Jerry McAreevy in 48. I'll try to get through everybody as we go on through. Who's in 49? Well, we're rounding the track here anyway. We'll get on with our race. Winner leading the field. You should see that pit car go sliding in the field, looking a little bit disorganized behind the leaders there. That's Gaspers and Arabian in the two cars that look similar. They joined, it looks like they've joined Winner's and Gaspers' old livery into a new Bizarro livery. I have had races change their livery just to mess with me before, Lee. I'm not sure if that's what's going on here, but it very well could be.
Just trying to make sure I keep you on your toes, you know?
Yeah.
So like I say, yeah, really great job from Simon Mayer up there, top of the Spec 2 qualifiers in that 5th position. And then, Chernikowski as well in 8th with Ken Bately 9th, looked to be the top of the Spec 2. So, yeah, cracking job from those. The next one down is way down, is down in 15th. So, yeah, those guys punching above their weight, it looks like.
Yeah. Always nice to show up and get a good result, especially if you happen to be familiar with the particular track. Of course, we're at Sonoma today, if I didn't mention that already. Here is the field at the final sort of section of the track. Gasper's going to be slightly ahead after that. Ooh, did they touch there? Goodness. So that is Winner on the inside. Lights are on, and there is the green flag. We are racing. Austin Winner leads Gaspers from Arabian form Bertoni. I thought I saw some too wide action there just behind Arabian. It looks like Bertoni is doing everything he can to catch up to Arabian, but he's got Manny and Mayer just behind. It looks like Fritcher and Elson as well.
Oh dear. Contacts in the background there, Jim. Yeah, I'm seeing some names falling down the order. Triedler and our friend Jaroslav got caught up as well. And another incident, again, involving Stevie Ray there as well. Looked like started and then two big incidents after that.
Yeah, that wreck just seemed to go on and on, didn't it? I thought I saw Van Dormelen bouncing across the infield of the track there. I just saw Jerry McAreevy's car. Everybody red on the timing tower. Well, this is shaking out very poorly, sort of. That looks like Fritcher, Elson, and Dobek there have got themselves on the lead sort of snake of cars. That's Dobek's car there with that gap. And then after Dobek, it's got a little bit of gap to Shaw, but look at all of this mess in the rear. Now, Lee, these guys do get a fast repair, so it shouldn't be too terrible. You know, everybody should be able to tow to the pits and get fixed and get back underway.
Yeah, fortunately, at the minute, I'm only actually seeing one car who's actually towed to pit. So fingers crossed for the remainders. There's not too much damage for them to, if they need to limp back to pits, get back re-towed and not lose too much time. But it's just awesome seeing this huge field working their way through this classic Californian track as Pereira battling hard there with Shaw just behind, and just about sweeps around the outside of turn 1 to take that position in P11.
Well, it looked like it was indeed Van Dormelen off the track. He's just got himself to the pits, has Van Dormelen, and he's joined by Miro Hrasky. That must have been the other car that you saw in there. Hrasky usually figuring pretty high in the Spec 2 standings, but here are your leaders, your lead group of 3. No surprise to see Winner, Gaspers, and Arabian battling out at the sharp part of the field here. That is Gaspers and Arabian with the very similar liveries there. They formed a team, but I don't think they're taking the team too seriously. Not any more seriously than just installing the livery, that is.
Yeah, and the top 3 breaking away quite nicely, presumably partly from the little bit of instance we had on the opening lap there. They already got a 2.5 second lead or so over Jug Manny, who of course started from pole, right, Manny? So yeah, he had not a great start to the opening laps.
Looks like Dobek is doing some good work back there. He's gained 2 positions. Elson gained 5 so far, as you can see on the top left of your screen there. Nice work for Elson. Oh dear, Mayer, Dobek, and Elson are moving backward on the timing tower. I wonder if they've had some sort of misfortune.
Yeah, like I say, Mayer I'm seeing falling way down, so definitely an incident with those guys. And here it comes up on replay, perfectly timed. I actually saw this in the background a moment ago, side by side. And let's see how it turns out. So corner, just trying to get up inside, trying to get a little bit of a cutback almost, and then unfortunate to collect the
look at Elson's
remainder
car.
of the cars.
So it looked to me like Elson got a little bit into the rear deck lid of Mayer's car, and then Dobek just turned Elson's car over and over again like he was a gas station hot dog.
Yeah, it was unfortunate there. Just a little bit of an opportunistic move trying to nip up inside. It did not pan out that time at all. Nice little battle here towards the end of the top 10 between Fritcher on the outside there and McGill, who's just swept through on the inside of that time by. We'll see if Fritcher can defend now from Pereira, who's already making up those positions from the start, and whether he can get another one made imminently for the Spec 2 racer.
Well, I gotta tell you, Lee, we've seen a lot of improvement this year, although we've now in a different season. I'm thinking about the previous season with Fritcher's racing. He's really come on board. I remember the first memory I have of him is racing at Monza Junior in the previous season, and the man that you see on track today is much improved in those days. Not that he was slow at the time, but I think he's really working his way up the timing tower as Fritcher.
Yeah, looking great drive and safe, trying to put that pressure back on Mirgul, trying to regain that spot as well. And of course, those guys aren't far behind. Shaw just a couple of attempts further up as well. So we'll see how they continue as these cars hitting those inside curbs hard and seem to be pretty compliant with, unfortunately, for these guys. There's a hard battle between the three at the back of the top 20 as they're working away, cutting back and forth through the right and left hander. And the 641 just about manages to hang on to it, onto the gravel, and somehow keeps the momentum, Jim, and keeps his nose in front for now.
Yeah, that is Renders battling it out with Haycox. Haycox is going to dive to the inside, see if he can get anything done. Jacobson waiting in the wings there to see if he can make anything happen. It looks like Renders is going to have to sort of surrender to Haycox. Now, I do need to apologize to the Haycox family. Father and son do race with us, but I misnamed them, Lee, I'm sorry to say. I thought that the son was the father and the father was the son. I really failed in that respect. But it is the son. Hugh Haycox is the son, and Ian is the father. Hugh is racing there in 19th overall. In the number 34 machine you see there just in front of Renders. What a failure this is on my part. And with my superior on the broadcast too. Shameful.
Yeah, we see a little bit of damage as well on a couple of these cars from these few incidents they've had earlier on. So we're going to see what happened now to Tom Gradwell as they work their way through the back of the circuit. And that was an unlucky one there. Ran over the outside curb, which looks to be a pretty flat curb, and there was obviously just a little dip there, a little bump on the exit of a curb, and really got thrown up, and unfortunate as well to collect the wall on the other side of the track. Lucky though, actually, not to collect anyone else, so it's a small blessing.
Yeah, I think he was in the air just a millisecond longer than he wanted to be, and it compromised his ability to sort of brake there. And then some of his braking, I think, was on the dirt. Gave a little bit of a shunt.
Yeah, I'm seeing plenty of bent rear wings on. Well, if you want to call them a rear wing, it's all it's all part of one single bodywork. But, you know, plenty of bent rear wings on these cars. As, again, so many of them have been in the wars already this time by. Again, pleased to see though that there's not a huge amount of cars sort of a lap down or anything already. We've got 40 odd cars who are still, I would say, kind of in their battle on the lead lap, which is good to see still as we're watching E36 Louis the Loop leading the two cars behind him as well. And I love that three-tone colour scheme on there, Jim. That's one of the things I love about this, jumping on this series every now and then, is just getting to see all these kind of retro classic style liveries that fit so well, of course, with Racer Force.
Yeah, no question about it. So quickly, let's just take a look through our results on track as they stand. Currently, you can see your overall, of course, winner Gaspers and Arabian there battling it out. We're currently looking at, for a loop, but winner Gaspers and Arabian leading the race. And then your Spec 2 leader, I believe, is going to be Pereira, John Pereira. Currently running 10th overall, car number 312. There he is. Just that blue car running a little bit by himself. Is Pereira. So he's leading Spec 2, and then the next car would be Peter Mizarek, I believe in the 321 machine, and Thomas Renders in the 641. Those are your top three currently running as they are on the road in your Spec 2. And the Masters doing very well for themselves, Lee. Mike Shaw running 8th overall, the Canadian Mike Shaw. And just behind him is Chris Murakami.
Yeah, absolutely. So Mike's showing the rest of the guys how it's done, pretty much. Looks like, I'd say, only the Spec 1 guys ahead of him. So, yeah, cracking job so far. And looks to be trying to continue the move forwards as he keeps his battle up with Fritcher just in front.
Yeah, and speaking of continuing their move forwards, there's our buddy Fritcher in the number 43 machine. He's gotten around Shaw. Moved himself up into 7th place. Although, I say moved himself up, but according to the timing chart, that's where he started. So, that's where he should have been all along, isn't it?
And a bit of side-by-side action coming through turn 1 between Paul Jackson and Flores just ahead of him as well. And looks like Paul Jackson, going to just about get that apex hit and drives off the corner, and a 206 now behind, looking to be under a little bit of pressure from the next car. And just wherever you look in the field, Jim, battles for everyone. That's all 555 coming back on. Very unfortunate for the 263 to get caught up as well. Just about manages to stay out the rest of the way of the cars, looks like. Unfortunate both those. Looks like the 263 came out, or 265, sorry, came out worse for wear. Got more bodywork damage on that one, but unfortunate racing incident on that one, coming back to the track after losing control.
Yeah, the 555, Paulo Bremian, looked like he had a little bit of an issue. Here is an issue for the lead. Gaspers challenging winner for the lead of the race. Tough place to make a pass there, Gaspers. I'm sure he wanted to get done a little bit before, but they're still too wide. Let's hope they can keep it clean. These guys have raced together a lot. They know exactly how to get it around one another. I think Gaspers was going to get into the rear of winner's car there, and Gaspers may very well get around. Foreign's Arabian looking to see if he can't make something happen as well. Gaspers will have the benefit of geometry here, and I think he's going to get it done, Lee. We'll see how they go. Too wide into the turn now.
Yeah, and Arabian just sitting there biding his time at the minute, seeing if he was going to get a sniff of an opportunity to come on off the corner. But Gaspers and winners ahead, but too clean that time by. So the lead three, Jim, really are pulling away from the rest of the field. So they're just in a little race of their own at the minute. So we can see with the great onboard shot just up ahead, they've got back markers that they're going to be starting to catch up to on this reasonably short circuit in the grand scheme of things. So it's going to start getting a bit more a bit more messy as they try and negotiate that traffic as well. And the first one dutifully dives into pit lane right as they get there.
I think that might have been McAree jumping into the pit lane. It was. I recognize those green and white stripes. And now Gaspers and Winner look like they're putting a little gap on Arabian, even though they're continuing to battle it out.
Yeah, we've got a great onboard shot from Arabian, watching that battle for the front. Who's going to come through his right hand with their nose in front, going around the outside? Can he Can Gaspers keep it on the outside of the track? He can, doesn't run wide, gets to drive off the corner as well. So Winner's going to have to concede for now. It looks like he's desperately trying not to, but yeah, Gaspers takes that spot for now, and Winner's going to have to spend a bit of time finding that next position, next opportunity.
You just compromise. You lose so much speed if you're trying to battle through that area of the track. Here we are looking at Haycox. And that looks like... that is Ian Haycox. Ian the Elder. He's battling with
Pereira, I think it looks like. So yeah, so Haycox and Pereira battling away as they work their way through the back end of the circuit. It looks like Haycox has just got himself a little bit of breathing space for a couple more corners at least.
Well, his car, it looks like it's been thrown down a set of stairs, but doesn't appear to be any slower for it. Now we should have the pit window open shortly for anybody who wants to spend the rest of the race running with a full fuel tank. His cars should be able to go for about 30 minutes. And there's McGill diving into the pits. Perhaps that has occurred to him. I think I saw a car in the rear jumping into the pits as well. So cars who stop now, anybody who picked up damagely on that first lap might be stopping now.
Yeah, good opportunity for him to pick up that repair and not really lose any time. I'm seeing Stevie Ray in pit lane as well, so it seems like he's taken opportunity. And Mike Shaw, who we're watching now, I think was in the pits lap before I saw. So yeah, we'll see how he comes out and where he ends up in his battle for that Masters top position where we saw him a few moments ago.
Well, quickly, while we have a moment, I do not want to forget to thank our sponsor. Thank you so much, RaceVoice. They are proud to be the exclusive sponsor of the Weekend Warrior Spec Racer Ford Racing Series. Take your driving to the next level with on-track audible performance alerts with RaceVoice and RaceVoiceSIM. You can hear stuff like miles per hour, turn entry and exit speeds. A little bit of a puff of smoke from Shaw there. He could perhaps use RaceVoice to tell him to not lock up his brakes. You can hear miles per hour, turn entry and exit speeds, upshift alerts, love those, and other performance metrics which are selected and configured by you. Go faster with the speed of voice. Plus, Weekend Warriors get 50% off annual pricing using the promo code of WW50. Check them out at www.racevoice.com. Thank you so much to those guys for sponsoring this series. Shaw getting a little move made here on Kern.
Yeah, some making up positions already after that earlier pit stop from him. So it'll be interesting to see as over the next couple of laps how many more start to dive in. So for sure we've seen a handful of drivers already as each of those cars scramble over that high inside apex curve as they come through that fast right hand of air. Bobby West under lots and lots of lots and lots of pressure on Conlon just in front of him and really shaping up for a move, getting underneath the rear wing, moves to the inside, going to have a look into the heavy braking zone, into the final corner, gets alongside, nice and early smoke ahead just to keep things interesting, sweeps around, avoids those pesky tyre barriers on the inside as well, and nice clean move there from Bobby West, and that moves him up to 32nd position.
We do get a good look at the new iRacing smoke in this series.
Get to enjoy those particle effects.
Yes, they are beautiful. And West now making a little bit of distance. It looks like this is Jacobson, who's got Cox all over the rear of him. Yes, Yuri Cox there in the number 85 machine. And that's Ian Gibson just hanging out there in the rear, I believe. And Jeff Jacobson has made use of the information app. Look at that. We can see his photo.
Yeah, great to see some of the guys using that. So, yeah, for any drivers watching this back, yeah, jump onto the SDK Gaming website, sdk-gaming.co.uk, and in the menu at the top, you'll see the option for the driver information app where you can add your team name and your driver photo, as Jeff Jacobson's done here, or also make any amendments that you need to your iRacing name as well. Perhaps you're known as, your full name in iRacing, but actually just want, Joe instead of Joseph type of situation. You can make all those changes, which will appear on any broadcaster who uses the SDK Gaming overlay, which isn't just Apex Racing TV, but a number of others as well. So yeah, worth doing if you haven't already. Maybe pick an image of yourself rather than of your favourite meal, as it seems like David Gaspers has done there.
I believe that is a team. That is a team joke about the name of their team. They are the Winner Schnitzels.
Oh, so they are.
Yeah, they've named themselves after Austin Winner, with whom they are currently battling here. There's Gaspers in the lead, followed by Winner, followed by Arabian. We just saw Winner make a little bit of a mistake as we see Gaspers punting one of these witch hats, as the English call them, witch hats, I think. But Gaspers and Winner still battling for the lead here. As I say, we just saw Winner make a little bit of a mistake. He got his car took a little bit too much curb, and it compromised him, because Gaspers and Winner had a little gap on Arabian previously. Now Arabian is back in the mix. They do call those witch hats, don't they, Lee? Or am I making that up?
Well, I'm sure somebody has, but I wouldn't like to say that it's a common thing. I think traffic cone is probably the more common use. But
well, I prefer witch
from now on. Oh yeah, I think I'll perhaps go for witch hats from now on, sir.
Especially after that Monza race where they brought out the witch's broom. Remember that Formula 1 race?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, with the best highest technology tarmac, sweeping material available for sure.
Yeah, they borrowed it from Hogwarts. There was a Quidditch match with them. So here is Manny, Bertoni, and Arnold participating in a little on-track Quidditch of their own.
And actually, Jim, thanks to that bit of squabbling from the leaders ahead, they have closed that gap now. I said about the top three really breaking away. Arabian is getting pulled back into the battle for fourth, fifth, and sixth. Now we can see him just getting dropped off the lead too slightly. And it looks like that Bertoni is wanting Manny to get a move on. He can see the leaders there that they're closing up to. He's given them a bit of a hurry up there through the last couple of corners. And
these guys like a little bit of a defensive line from Manny.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's have a look at what the lap times are going to be from the top 6 cars this time by, as to how the progress is changing for these top guys. So 24.6 for Gaspers, 24.6 for Winner as well. We can see that Arabian was a bit slow with a 25.3. I said he dropped off. And then actually 4th and 5th were 3 tenths off. So yeah, they did drop 3 tenths on that lap. So they either need to hope for a bit more squabbling up ahead to allow them to reel them in, or they just need to find a bit more pace from somewhere.
Well, it certainly seems like if Gaspers and Winner can run relatively clean, they have a chance of getting away from Arabian and bringing the rest of these cars into the fold. This is that curb that flummoxed Austin Winner just a moment ago.
And still a lot of cars haven't gone for that pit stop yet. So obviously they've got a decently long pit stop window. They're not running out of time, kind of imminently. But yeah, it seems like that kind of initial burst of pit stops has kind of ended. And we're going to be waiting for the next batch coming not too distant future, I guess.
Quite so. Everybody running all the way down to about 22nd has not yet stopped. What's happened to Hugh Haycox? We're looking at him here. There
Same
he is,
spot.
isn't it? Oh.
Yeah, same as we saw earlier, getting caught on that outside curb, but luckily for Haycox, managing to keep it out of that the wall on the other side of the track this time, so manages to continue on kind of undamaged.
Well, a little bit of luck. Never hurt anybody, did it? We're looking at Lewis, who's on the rear of Gibson's car. And I believe this is a Spec 2 battle here. If I can count properly. It's hard to tell. These guys are both in Spec 2, Gibson and Lewis. It's Gibson in the lead there in the 893 machine, and then Kirk Broadhurst isn't too far behind. Oh, no. So Broadhurst is going to take that spot from Lewis as Lewis spun. He's now taking it out on a stack of tires.
Yeah, Mansell's having a tricky position, doing the right thing of trying not to come back across the track to get himself turned around, but yeah, tricky place to get back going in, but does manage to eventually. It was a bit of a weird kind of loss of control on that one. Looked like things were all sorted, and then the rear just sort of drifted away from him at the end of the corner.
Well, that is the song of the SRF, my friend. It does certainly love to rotate, especially on those sort of hairpins where you're trying to trail brake and decelerate. Take as long as you can to decelerate. It can very easily come around on you. And the worst thing about where Lewis was spun there is once he gets the car sort of righted and he's not driving into the tire barrier anymore, if he goes straight and cuts the track, he could get a slowdown as well. So, no fun.
Yeah.
Best not to spin the car in general.
Good rule to follow. from Jim Hodgson there. Classic Apex Racing TV insights on that one.
Yeah, that's how I got this job. It's good advice. So there is Pereira with renders all over his deck lid. His deck lid, of course. Looks like somebody has taken a can opener to it. Renders looking a bit the worse for wear himself as well. Pereira running in 13th overall. Those guys are battling in Spec 2. Mizurek currently leading Spec 2, just ahead running in 11th overall. So Pereira and Renders are battling for P3 in Spec 2 because Yaroslav Chernikovsky is in P2 in Spec 2. Math is not my strong suit, Lee. It's a little bit hard to get it all sorted out. Just looking at the timing tower.
Yeah, but like I say, I think you've got it bang on that one, as we're seeing David Swig trying to sweep around the outside on says that Stevie Ray just in front of him there, but didn't quite happen that time by. So yeah, Ray managing to continue in front as the number 64 jumps out of the way for these guys as well. Stevie Ray has made his pit stop, but David Swig haven't, so they're not really battling for position. But yeah, David Swig just continuing on, waiting for his pit stop in the coming laps.
Well, it's a sad story there. The car at the very top of your screen that we just saw, that was the number 64 machine of Miro Hraski. Normally is very much at the sharp end of the field is Hraski, but he had some sort of mischief befall him on lap 1, and he's suffering. He's running in 38, so he's managed to claw some places back, but he's down 26 positions from his starting point.
Ouch.
Yeah, it is significant.
We had a couple of the top 15 guys come in for their pit stop as well on that lap. So Pereira and Mizurek are both in, and they were kind of line astern, I think, coming into pit lane. So it'll be interesting to see how they come out as we get a little bit of a look at that first lap incident, and yeah, just triggered by two cars getting caught, tangled, coming together, and then it just continued on and on and on as it just rippled further and further down the field. So yeah, that was what's happened to Hraski at the start.
Unfortunate. So this is Shaw here, all over the rear of McGill, as McGill's car encourages us to eat local honey.
And just keeping an eye on my timing screen as well, Jim, I see that Manny from 4th place has now come into pit lane as well. So yeah, the top 6 guys are starting to look at those pit stops. It'll be interesting to see whether Manny manages to get a bit of an undercut working for him, and whether he can maybe claw his way into those top 3 positions when they come out. And we'll have to see again, and Gasper's winner and Arabian make their stops.
Yeah, absolutely. It looks like a couple of guys, as you say, Chernikovsky, Renders, have stopped in. Now, it's always a battle, Lee, in this series when Gaspers and Arabian and Winner start taking their pit stops, as you alluded, but Winner is pretty good at the pit stops, but all of these guys really are, as Gaspers looks like he's got a little bit of a gap now on Winner. So the lead group of 3 stretching out a little bit.
Yeah, and that's not what Manny needs, having made his early pit stop. He needs these guys swabbling away a little bit so he can try and make that leapfrog in perhaps a bit of clear traffic if that's what he's got. None of the top 5 this time come in for their stops, so they will continue round again. But like I say, they've all got a bit of clear air, and they need to be pumping in those laps.
Yeah, Bertoni and Arnold here battling away. As you say, Manny stopped in for his pit stop. This is Verloop, just behind Mitchell's car there. Great battle going on track. I don't think you want to mess with either of these drivers, Lee. They're not afraid to stick their car in some places it doesn't want to be, just judging by the look of the bodywork.
Yeah, it looks like they've had a little bit of a rough time of it already. Verloop and neither Verloop or Mitchell have made their pit stops yet, so yeah, they definitely have been struggling a little bit so far, but they've got each other to battle with, which is one of the beauties of this this large field. Even if you have incidents earlier on, hopefully the guys still get to have a fun race, having a bit of a battle with someone else who maybe had a similar rifle.
Yep, I'll say it again. I say it just about every broadcast, but I'll go ahead and say it again. Best series on the service. There's Ray On the inside on Kern, Stevie Ray will move himself up into 23rd position. Oh dear, his nice clean car that he picked up in his pit stop, Stevie Ray, has already got a little bit of damage on the rear deck lid. Deary me.
And I'm seeing leaders in as well now. So Winner, Arabian and Arnold, all cars from the top 5, have come in for their pit stop. So Gaspers inherits the lead, and Bertoni now is in second place for the time being. So yeah, it'll be interesting, as we said, to see where Manny manages to come out in amongst those 3 guys who just made their stops.
Well, there's Jerry McAree's car on the inside there, moving a little bit slowly as Stevie Ray and Kern move on by. Oh dear, Kern has got, oh no! Oh. I'm not sure who the 888 machine was who got into that situation with Kern. Kern in the 206. Blue car there.
888 was Yaroslav Chanelski, so yeah, unfortunate for him. And just looking at the lead battle on my timer screen again, it didn't really work out for Manny, so he's still at the back of that little pack. Winner came out of Arabian, who came out ahead of Arnold, and then Manny just behind. And in fact, we can't even see him in front. So yeah, so Manny really seems like he lost out. Didn't quite manage to make that early pit stop work. We can see the rest of the cars almost around the other side of the corner there.
Well, he'll have some stern words to share with his race engineer, I have no doubt.
And
Gaspers goes into the pit. Gaspers, he was in the lead of that group of 3. Gaspers, Winner, and Arabian. Bertoni inherits the lead here, but Gaspers stayed out for another lap, so we'll see how that turns out for him. We should see shortly, shouldn't we?
Yep, be worth us sticking with Winner just for another 30 seconds or so, and we can see then where Gaspers is going to come out. Arabian right on the rear wing of Winner as well as they come into the hairpin there. Gaspers still showing in pit lane, but he is moving. And so let's see where he's going to come out as the guys come over the start-finish line. We're going to see Gaspers then on the right-hand side of the screen when the camera switches. Gaspers is right there. He's just about ahead. Has he got the momentum? He hasn't. Winner gets his nose up the inside. Gaspers seems to get a drive off the corner though. Maybe a little bit of caution from the kind of the semi-teammates that you were telling us about earlier on, Jim. But Gaspers just about managed to hold on, even though it didn't look like he quite had the momentum coming off of pit lane.
Unbelievable that Gaspers managed to slide out of the pit when he did. So we're looking at the front of the race as it will be. The winner will be one of these 3 cars. Arabian just needed to get his car stopped there without getting into the rear of Winner's car. So your overall winner will be one of these 3 cars, almost certainly. As we are on lap 21, just about to tick over 30 minutes of a 40-minute race. Oh dear, there's McAree. Just all over the place.
Yeah,
Richard there on the rear of Gibson's car.
Yeah, very close. I was just going to say exactly the same thing. I'll say right underneath Gibson's gearbox as they came through the back end of the circuit. So we'll see how keen Fritcher is to try to make a move as they work their way towards that big braking zone, of course, for hairpin at the end of the lap, where he's got the opportunity, but he's just lost a little bit of time through the last section there, and so I think it's going to be a little bit tough for him to come back from the gap.
Well, let's take a little look here once again at there's Gibson into the pit.
That makes life easier for Fritcher that time.
Yeah, Fritcher goes ahead and locks up his wheels anyway. Why not? Let's see. So Fritcher running an 8th overall. Here we're looking at renders. And I just wanted to take a look at Spec 2, and I believe Mark has done an expert job of moving me to renders, who I believe is the leading Spec 2. He's the number 641 machine. No, Pereira leading in the 312. There's Pereira. Renders running in P2 of Spec 2. And P3 in Spec 2 would be Aaron Vaguely, who had, I believe he was caught up in some of those lap 1 incidents, Lee, unless I'm mistaken, was Vaguely.
Yes, quite possibly. He's only made the 1 pit stop, so he didn't have to come in for a fast tow. But yeah, I think you're right that he did get a repair for damage as he almost tangles with Stevie Ray there, and Stevie Ray goes back off track again. and it's 6-4. 6-4 now is going to come on the inside of Stevie Ray, and yeah, it wasn't for position, I don't think, actually, for that one, but yeah, Stevie Ray coming worse off, and Vogler continues in 17th.
Deary me. I thought for sure we were going to have that was Miro Haraski's car. I thought for sure we were going to have another incident with him and have Haraski get knocked off track yet again, the poor guy.
And Bertoni from the front has finally made his pit stop as well, so he was the last car that we're waiting for then the front of the field to end up in their true positions. So yeah, Winner now actually does take over the official lead of the race.
And then we were just looking at Chris Murakami. Thank you, Mark. It's done an expert job, has Mark Pranter. Murakami leading the Masters. The elder and wiser gentleman on track. They're 60 years of age and older, if you can believe it.
With another fantastic livery on that car as well.
And Murakami followed in the Masters by Mike Shaw, who's just behind him on track in the 961 machine. And third will be Stevie Ray, who we just saw a moment ago in his silver 911 machine. Not actually a 911, that's just his number. Would be quite a different race, Lee, if there was one 911 on track. Well, depending on the 911, you know, if it was one of the first models, maybe it wouldn't be too far off.
So I'm just having a quick look at a couple of the pit lane stats, and according to our timing screen, as we have a little watch of the leaders battling away, let's see what happened here between Winner, Gaspers and Arabian. And it was Arabian absolutely running out of brakes into the hairpin and just about keeping it out of the outside wall. I was just going to say though that yeah, despite Winner being in the lead at the minute, his time in pit lane was actually a second slower than both Gaspers and Arabian. So yeah, did not really hit his marks that time. But
well, I wouldn't be too quick to judge in those terms, having never hit the necessary marks of mine driving in this car. Here's Murakami and Shaw still battling away. A fierce battle between these elder gentlemen. Probably over something like who gets an extra helping of applesauce.
Right, so let's have a quick confirmation of the top 10 then, now that all the pit stops are completed at the front. So yeah, Austin Winner in the lead in that tight battle between David Gaspers and Ferenc Arabian, second and third. Andre Bertoni then in fourth, Josh Arnold in fifth, Jörg Manny in sixth, Ian Haycox in seventh, Jeff Richer in eighth, who's battling with Haycox on screen right now, Jim McGill in ninth, and Chris Murakami in 10th, leading that Masters class, as Jim mentioned a few minutes ago. And Haycox just about hitting his marks on that one, with Fritcher just running a little bit deep, and we can see just the effect that had off of the corner for Fritcher, not quite being able to keep the momentum up. I'm seeing a few nice little battles throughout the field. So yeah, top three we're seeing in a close little group. I'm seeing them 0.3 apart of each other. And then yeah, back here at Ken Batley and Ian Gibson, I think it's going to be. Yeah, pretty close. Or sorry, the current front row of the car behind. So Jory Cox, yeah, Ken Batley and Jory Cox battling hard as they came through the back of the circuit there as well. So yeah, a few nice little groupings going on with the odd lapped car to just muddle things up a little bit further.
Well, so it goes if you get 60 cars on a track, 60 plus cars on a track this size. That is why we love the series, one of the many reasons. Lots going on at all times. You can see that battle box. The battle for 18th, bottom right hand. What's the magic that the live timing does for us, isn't it? It gives us those nice information boxes. That was Van Dormelen just dipping the wheel off track there at the bottom of your screen.
Yeah, and Flores, it seems, having problem as we went to switch to him, and he just disappeared completely from the track. So yeah, issue somewhere for Joshua Flores, who was running in 36.
Wow. Just looking at the top of the timing tower there, at the top left of your screen, it looks like that purple time would indicate that Gaspers has just turned the fastest lap of the race so far. Gaspers running in P2 has turned a 1:24.2. That's getting on for half a second faster than Winner. So there's Winner, Gaspers, and Arabian all more or less together. And Bertoni very close behind as well. So we have to call this, Lee, I think, a lead pack of 4 drivers now.
Yeah, absolutely. It looks like it's really paid off for Bertoni going for that very, very late pit stop compared to the other guys. So, like I say, looks absolutely there now to pick up scraps from any issues with the top 3. And we've already seen here a couple of lockups, a couple of outbraking manoeuvres into the hairpin. So, there's certainly opportunity there for Bertoni to snatch a podium away from the lead guys who have been, holding on to those top 3 positions solidly from the very start of the race.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised to see some rather aggressive driving from Gaspers here as we see him take a slightly narrower line through the hairpin than does Winner. Gaspers currently running in P2. It wouldn't surprise me to see him be a little bit aggressive because he did have a little bit of bad luck over the last couple of races, and it seemed like he was a little bit hard done by. Gaspers here once again turns the fastest lap of the race, and it's then stolen away by Bertoni at a 1:24 and 6/1000ths.
It looks like they're all 4 of these guys. It looks like they're just stepping up their pace now a little bit lap after lap. So it's been coming down in those last couple of laps. And like you say, Bertoni really showing that he's got the pace to stick with the guys in the closing minutes of race. We're only got a couple of minutes left. Jim, it's last time I looked, we were halfway through. All of a sudden, 2 minutes left. So time is running out for the guys in all the battles within the different classes, including Fritcher and Haycox going at it again for 7th and 8th position.
Looks like we have quite a battle going on in Spec 2. Oh dear.
Not anymore.
Yeah, Pereira just got by Renders, didn't he? Renders. I didn't see all of that. I don't know if those are coming together.
Yeah, there was a coming together. We cut to it quite late to see, but here's the replay now to get the full view of it. So Renders is in front here, actually. Pereira behind. And I think Pereira's just going to go into the back of him. So whether that is Pereira, it didn't look like Pereira overcooked it. It looked like he had control. I think just surprised maybe by the apex speed of Renders on that one. So yeah, unfortunate that it ended that way for Renders. And at the front, side by side as we switch to him, Jim.
Gaspers and Winner side by side with Arabian and Bertoni just behind. Now we've seen these cars battling throughout this part of the track so far a number of times. Winner's just ahead by a nose.
Yeah, Bertoni in 4th as well. Jim looking for that move on Arabian. Couldn't quite make it that time by. And Gaspers and Winners still side by side as well. Can Winners hold on that inside line? He can't. Gaspers takes that super wide line to carry the momentum. But Bertoni, he's the one looking racy at the minute as well.
These guys are going to be 4 wide in the second here, and Winner's getting swarmed. I think Arabian might have the grunt to get around Winner here. Winner previously battling for the lead, now doing everything he can to hang on to second. Oh, and he's around. He is around. That is Austin Winner into the tire barrier. Oh, no.
And from, battling for the front all race long as Winner all of a sudden just ends in a moment. So we'll try and take a look at that after the end of the race, see exactly what happened there to Winner. But Gaspers now just got a little bit of breathing space off the final corner. Checkered flag has come out, Jim, so that was the final lap. Gaspers, then Arabian, and then Bertoni as they come across the line. Bertoni grabbed that podium as I suspected he might get the opportunity for. Let's have a look at the rest of the top 10 as they come over the line as well. Looks like Josh Arnold looking very close with Fritcher. I think Arnold's just got Fritcher coming off the final corner. There we go. We see him coming over the line. And with Austin Winner there recovering as well with his damaged car.
Yeah, unfortunate. We're looking here at Jim McGill, the number 142 machine. It looks like your Chris Murakami. There he is, just ahead of Fritcher. Murakami will take the win in the Masters. And next will P2 in the Masters will be Mike Shaw. We're seeing him here. And it looks like Thomas Renders is going to take the win in Spec 2. Looking here at Peter Mizarek. Mizarek will take P2 in Spec 2, I believe. And there is Stevie Ray. Not sure what. I think he's going to be 4th, maybe, in the Masters.
So yeah, some great action all the way through that race, really, Jim. We didn't really have much of a moment to spare, and then frantic action in the final lap between the top three positions. A winner not making the most of his namesake that time, unfortunately. But yeah, we'll try and grab a look. Maybe if Mark is able to cue that up in the next few moments, exactly what happened. We were on a bit of a far shot at the time when it was live, and here we go then. So here's the replay of winner side by side with Arabian, I guess it was, and it just cut away on my screen at the wrong moment. But I think Arabian was on the inside of the fast right-hand corner there on the outside of the track, and just a bit of a shoulder check, I think it looked like, between Arabian and winner, which sent winner off. So yeah, we'll see what the guys think about it after the race. But yeah, looked a little bit of a racing incident, just sort of two not going into one. So nice onboard shot this time from Arabian, and yeah, didn't quite see it on the screen, but we just heard the tyre squeal as winner disappeared off into the gravel.
Well, a great finish today for Bertoni to finish on the podium. It'll be Gaspers in P1 and Arabian in P2. The winner schnitzels themselves, although Foreigns Arabian's team is Foreigns Arabian. So thank you so much, Lee, for helping me out with commentary today, everybody. Lee did a great job. So it looks like we got a couple of drivers here ready to have interviews with us, and we are desperate to talk to them as well. I'll just go through a few more of the results. In fourth, it was Jürgen Manny who took that early pit, as Lee pointed out. Ended up in P4, though, so not a bad finish for Manny there. Winner, of course, off on the final lap there, ends up P5, followed by Jim McGill. And just behind it's Josh Arnold. Murakami, your Masters winner, and 8th overall. Great result for Murakami, I believe. Fritcher in 9th there. Must have had a little bit of a shakeup in the pits. He was running more in the 7th range, was Fritcher. And in the final 10th, your P10 there is Mike Shaw, who is also 2nd in Masters. And you can see just down there in P13 is Renders, who will finish 1st in Spec 2, as well as the rest of your results. Now, let's drag one of these drivers in here and have a chat with him. Why don't we start with our race winner? Here he is, David Gaspers, our race winner. Congratulations on your win today. Gaspers, how did it develop for you?
Thank you. It was quite exhausting. Austin is a bit faster than me in the second half of the lap, I think, and so it was really hard to overtake him in the first place, and also keep him behind me, since the only real opportunity to overtake is the last hairpin.
Yeah, well, it seemed like you really, you guys were battling in some of the what I consider to be the sort of the hardest parts of the track to battle in. That sequence after the start-finish straight. You know, it sort of snakes up the hill, and you guys were side by side through that a couple of times. That must have been exhausting, as you say.
Yeah, I had to try it there. I was faster in the first half of the lap, I think, and I wouldn't get any chance into the last corner if the lap was normal. So I had to try it there.
Well, you certainly did. Well, I was saying just a moment ago on the broadcast that it wouldn't surprise me if you were just a touch more aggressive than usual today, just because you've had a little bit of bad luck in previous weeks. Did you feel like you kind of had something to prove today?
No, I think almost all of the races between Austin and Foreigns and me are that close, so that's not really something new.
Well, that's true. Yeah, absolutely true. Well, anyway, it's nice to see you back at the front of the field at the end of the race. So congratulations on that. Anything further to add?
Yeah, it was quite unlucky for Austin, of course. But I don't know how it looked in the stream, but for us in the server replay, his car disappeared just at the wrong moment, and then it reappeared inside of Foreign's car, so that was quite unlucky. It would have deserved to be on the podium at least.
Well, he certainly had his share of podium finishes, if not wins, has winners. So although this one is unfortunate, I'm sure his day will come around again. I don't feel too bad for him, David.
Yeah, it's still unlucky.
True enough. Well, congratulations to you on your finish today. and looking forward to seeing more of you as the season goes on.
Yeah, thank you.
A great win for Team Winner Schnitzels. That was your race winner, David Gaspers. And I think we have, yes, we do. I think we have a little bit more time. Let's get Thomas Renders in here. We don't often get to talk to Thomas Renders. Congratulations on your finish today, Renders. How are you feeling?
Thank you. I'm still full of adrenaline. Really, I'm so happy with the win.
Yeah, you should be. You won Spec 2 today, is what you're referring to, and congratulations.
But yeah, I was indeed.
So, how did the race develop for you? Did you get into any of that trouble early on, lap 1?
I honestly don't know how I got through the first lap without an incident. I had to brake for an emergency, I think 3 times or something, and I managed to get by without any damage. So yeah, that was a very difficult start. And after that, I knew I had some consistency. I wasn't the fastest, I think, and I also think a good strategy. After the pit stops, I managed to get behind Bobby, and he took me to John, I don't know how to pronounce it, sorry. And we had a really tough fight in the end. It was a hard one. I think it was an honest one, maybe sometimes a bit over the line, but yeah, it was a good fight.
Yeah, you guys always have a good battle on track. I mean, that's one of the things that I love about this series. I think Pereira ended up getting into a little bit of trouble with another car that eventually sent him off. So I think his luck wasn't terribly great today. But to focus on the positives, your luck certainly held throughout the race.
Yeah, indeed. I managed to get by every incident, and yeah, I had a couple of off tracks, but nothing too serious. So I'm happy with that.
Well, you should be. Looking forward to seeing more of you as the season develops. Anything further to add, Renders?
Just thanks to Steve and to the whole community for this awesome racing. I really like it.
Yeah, me too. All right. Thanks so much for hanging out, Thomas. Thanks for having a chat with us. We appreciate it. That was your Spec 2 winner, Thomas Renders. You can see his beautiful livery there on screen. How are we doing on time? We have just a few minutes left. And here is our second place finisher for the day, Forens Arabian. Forens, how did the race develop for you?
Hi, Jim. Well, most of the race I was sitting at the back of the 2 leaders, battling it out. Learning from my experience from last race, I didn't want to add my grain of salt to the fight and slow us down even more. But it's unfortunate that even though I tried to save some fuel, I don't know if you guys captured it, but we went side by side at the exit of the pit stalls, and I couldn't gain a place. So I was back again in 3rd place, waiting for an opportunity, which happened at the end of the last lap, and unfortunately it ended in Austin's accident where he kind of merged with my car for a few seconds. The iRacing gods were not kind to him.
Yeah, Gaspers was just telling us about that, how his car disappeared and then reappeared inside your car. That's certainly a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, well, in some aspects, I was planning to lean on him in those corners, given that our cars are relatively good when we're side by side and we can touch and hit each other gently. But given that he disappeared on my end and I couldn't see where he was, maybe I didn't give him enough space coming to the next corner where he appeared in my rear right wheel, spinning him off.
Yeah, well, just an unfortunate situation for everybody involved. I'm not sure what you can really do about that other than, making some sort of sacrifice to the iRacing gods, if such a thing exists.
Yeah, well, this was a crazy race. 10-10 the whole time, no breaks. It's a big contrast from last weekend's race, I must say.
Yeah, absolutely. How about Bertoni's result today? Finished in P3 and was racing with you guys. It's not. Gaspers mentioned this just a second ago, but it's no surprise to see the 3 of you guys running at the front. But it was really great to see Bertoni joining you guys and battling it out there and finishing on the podium as well.
That's for sure. He's challenged himself during the last season. I mean, he's been starting in the back for fun, I would imagine, but he's well capable of running with us. and especially when we're fighting like this and losing time, it's his best chance to come in and get some spots, the same as me. I can't lead, but I can certainly follow.
Well, fair enough. I think you're being a little bit modest, but that's okay. Florence Arabian, your second place finisher for today. Thank you so much, Florence.
Thank you, Jim.
Well, guys, what a race it has been, as per usual. So much fun. I love this series. I am not kidding, guys, when I say it is the best on the service. It really is. Do jump in with us. Come on back and see us next week. Maybe get on track and drive with these guys. They're a friendly bunch of people, lots of fun to race with, and very welcoming to newcomers. I have been Jim Hodgson. Joining me on commentary today was Lee Thompson, and of course in the production booth, the inimitable Mark Tranter. This has been SRF Weekend Warriors, presented by RaceVoice, right here on Apex Racing TV. Join us next week.